Hey, Autoality, how you guys doing? Welcome to SEMA 2025. The show opened officially about 11 and a half minutes ago. And we are here, obviously, at the Meguiar's booth. And want to talk to you real quickly about our new pad offering. Yes, our new pads. We have completely revamped our pad portfolio. Quite honestly, the only thing that has not changed is the color of the pads. Otherwise, what we're looking at today are 6-inch, 5-inch, and 3-inch pads in the cutting foam, the polishing foam, and the finishing foam. But you'll notice the density has gone up pretty dramatically in these, so we're not getting that real soft, almost kind of bouncy feel. We're seeing more and more real touch-sensitive paints these days that want to haze pretty badly with the correction process. And a really soft pad is actually not very good for that because it's got too much flex and bounce, and we can't get a real good interface between the abrasives in the liquid and the paint itself. So there have been times in the past we could actually get a better finish with our old cutting disc than we could with the finishing disc because of that. So now this increased density really helps with that. They're super, super comfortable to work with. And what's really cool is we're using the same pad for DA or rotary use. So 6-inch, 5-inch, and 3-inch. But keep this in mind, 6, 5, and 3 are the associated backing plate diameters. So this is a 6-inch pad, but it's 6 inches back here. And with this bevel on here, you're still looking at virtually a 7-inch face. So if you're working with a rotary and you're used to using a 7-inch pad, you want to go with our 6 because you've got a 6-inch backing plate. If you're working with a 21 mil stroke DA, those generally come with a 6-inch backing plate. So you want our 6-inch pad. If you're working with a 15 mil stroke tool, you want to go with the 5-inch pads. We've got the centering hole in there, and that also helps with a little bit of cooling because on a DA especially, the product tends to migrate to the center, and this almost becomes kind of like a garbage dump for that, okay? Helps to keep the heat down. By the way, if you're getting really hot, your pads are getting really hot when you're running, back off on your pressure. You're actually not doing it quite the way you should be. We don't want a lot of pressure, we don't want a ton of heat. A big change in this lineup are the microfibers. We used to have a cutting and a finishing microfiber. Now we just have one microfiber in the 3 different sizes. And what's really interesting here is we changed the foam to a denser foam, but it's actually like a memory foam. So if you're looking to get some really good cut out of your microfiber discs, get a little bit of pressure on there to compress that a bit. It will help reduce any elongation that you might have, especially on those 21 mil strokes. It's kind of a violent environment actually. And then the microfiber on the face is completely different as well. Fantastic cutting ability. And with a 3-inch, you can put this on a drill and do interior cleaning, even leather cleaning. We've got a kit for doing that very thing. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I want to give you a really, really important tip when it comes to working, especially with microfiber and especially on these touch-sensitive paints. When you're going to do your initial test spot and you grab your compound or your polish, let's grab some 110 here, right? Great stuff. If you load up that microfiber pad and you work that in real good, and you start buffing on an area and you wipe off the residue, if you get haze, don't freak out about it. Blow that pad out real thoroughly. Like when you think you've blown it out enough, keep blowing it out with compressed air. Put 2 or 3 little tiny drops of product on and go through that process 3 or 4 times. Spend 5 minutes getting that pad broken in, kind of warmed up. You know, if you're a track sprinter, you don't wake up in the morning and do a 100-meter sprint at the Olympics. You warm up for a good hour before you do a 10-second run, okay? Warm this pad up. Do that a few times. I can't tell you how often we've set up fresh product on a fresh pad, got a bunch of haze and thought, well, that's not gonna work. But then we went through that process for 5 minutes on the front end, and all of a sudden, the same compound, the same pad, the same tool, the same speed, the same pressure, the same paint, there's no more haze and there's tons of cut. So stop the frustration of trying to find something that's going to work flawlessly with that initial load of product, because it'll almost never happen. Let that pad break in, let it season in, and you will get a phenomenal cutting ability. And if that paint's really touch sensitive, this was something like 210, glorious finish. The black car over there was done with that combination by myself and Nick. Yeah, if that's what you're chasing, we'll help you get it with the new pads. Thanks for joining us today, Autoality, and hopefully we're going to come back at you in a few minutes with even more cool information for you.